In an earlier video, I pointed out that Democrats need to go out there and go into the locations where hospitals are going to be closing. Green energy, solar power plants are going to be put on hiatus or not built at all. Green energy, wind projects are going to be put on hold, where in these red states, in these red districts, employment that people thought they would have, they won't have. You need to go out there with media and banners and hit it day after day after day to let these folks know what happens if the big bad bill passes. The big, beautiful bill, but it's really the big bad bill. Now, above that is how we handle the sections of the bill that cuts healthcare, the section of the bill that cuts green energy investments, etc. But there is another part of the bill that we can handle, tax cut for the wealthy. And how do we market the tax cut for the wealthy? We let it be known. Well, I tell you what, let's first show what the deficit that's created by giving a big tax cut to the wealthy is going to do to the bond market. And the bond market means to how much ultimately we are going to pay to borrow as a country and individually on credit cards, mortgages, and car loans. Take a listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
While investors scramble around the uncertainty of tariffs, JP Morgan's CEO says their biggest concern might not be trade at all. Not that trade is okay, but it's not his number one issue. The U.S. debt is. If people decide that the U.S. dollar isn't the place to be, yeah, you could see, spreads gap out, credit spreads gap out, and that will become a problem. It hurts the people raising money, and that includes small businesses. That includes loans to small businesses, includes high yield debt, it includes leveraged lending, includes real estate loans. That's why you should worry about volatility in the bond market. When you hear about bonds, we are talking about U.S. Treasuries, which are widely considered the safest, highest quality place to put your money, which is why countries and investors around the world are so heavily invested in them. And how do they work? Okay, so a bond, it's like a loan where the borrower pays back with interest. That is the yield. And if the lender thinks the borrower is high risk, well, then they demand a higher interest rate. But the U.S. is seen as so safe that the interest rates, those yields, are normally very low. Well, last month, when the House passed a budget bill that could add $3.8 trillion to our debt, guess what bond yields did? They went up. That is the market telling us it is worried that the U.S. is borrowing so much, in large part to pay for tax cuts. And Trump knows how important the bond market is. He acknowledged it back in April when he paused the tariffs. Rising bond yields were one of the main reasons he pressed that 90-day pause. And now investors around the world might not be feeling like the safest asset in the world, bonds, are so safe anymore. And if right now you are saying, why in the world do I care? Treasury bonds mean nothing to me. Well, higher interest rates for treasuries, especially the 10-year, well, that means you're going to pay more for a mortgage, a car loan, or a business loan. And your credit card debt just got more expensive. So when and if global investors really do potentially lose faith in U.S. treasuries and the bond market actually cracks, well, then I will be sitting here in this seat with no good news to report.
Now, so what do we have to do here? What Democrats need to do here is personalize that as their higher interest rates in car loans, their higher interest rates in mortgage, their higher interest rates for credit cards, going directly into the pockets of wealthy, rich people. Let's start putting out the proper narrative that increase in interest rates that our government is paying, the increase in interest rates that we are going to pay, is going directly into the hands of those rich plutocrats, oligarchs, etc., those wealthy people, for that tax cut. And not only is that happening not only is our bills getting higher, credit card, etc., getting higher because we're giving them the money, but they're even ripping us off even further, because for every dollar that we give the government, they are getting over 20 cents or so of that dollar. I want us to start personalizing personalizing the debt, not just that we have a big deficit, point out that we are paying the interest on that deficit directly into the pockets of rich people. They are taking our money. They are stealing from us. Those higher interest rates and credit cards is a direct responsibility of the tax cut given to these folks by these corrupt politicians. And as such, they need to be removed. Folks, there is so much, if we decided to get active, progressives and Democrats alike, to present the proper narrative, to personalize this for that person in Appalachia, personalize that for that person in Pittsburgh, personalize it for that person in Timbuktu, Georgia, Timbuktu, South Dakota. We need to get with the program.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.